Hey friends, curl up, dim those candles, let the hounds settle. Brace yourself for the most scandalously wholesome topic. Nobody in your 7th grade textbook covered how flirting actually worked. When armor was in fashion and dentists were optional, forget rom-com meet-cutes. This is mud-splattered courtship with bonus livestock. Ready? Let's ride. Welcome to the dating scene now. Wash your hands. So you've woken up in the 14th century. Your breath smells like last week's ale. You own one tunic that doubles as a napkin. And you've just discovered a startling truth. Tinder 1TB invented for another 600 years. Congratulations, your best swipe right. It's literal eye contact across a smoky hall, while a minstrel butchers green sleeves in the background. Medieval society is a pyramid built from God. Kings, bishops, landlords, serfs. And finally you, the walking exclamation mark of hormones. Flirting has rules, some written, some whispered, and most enforced by the guy with the biggest pitchfork. Break them, and you don't get ghosted. You get pilloried by sunrise. 2, the 3-second stare. Eye contact is your first weapon. Except it's risky, because staring too long at a noble could be construed as a challenge. Staring too long at a peasant's goat could be construed as dinner. Staring at all is hard when half the hall is lit by one pathetic torch, and everyone's squinting through wood smoke. So you perfect the blink and miss it glance. Enough to say I see you, but not enough to say I'm hexing your crops. Experienced flirts chain these glances into what scholars call the St. Lucie sequence. Look dash down dash smile dash look dash away dash pray dash repeat. It's cardio for the eyelashes. 3 fashion as a pickup line clothes talk. Problem. You only own 2 garments, and one of them is seasonal mud. Still, tiny hacks exist. Men, untie 1 point on your doublet, so the linen shirt puffs out accidentally. Congrats! You've invented the medieval V-neck. Women, slip a ribbon dyed any color but really expensive blue through your girdle so it dangles like you totally didn't try. Ribbon physics. Each sway equals 1 flirt point. If you're poor, you improv with wildflowers. Tuck a daisy behind your ear. Stroll past the market stall. Hope nobody steals the daisy for soup garnish. For the coded compliment, you cannot say, "Nice bodkin, babe." Instead, borrow acceptable metaphors. Your eyes outshine the parish candle. My laugh is merrier than St. Crispin's fair. When you churn butter, the angels feel threatened. Handoffs, the original DM slide when words failed because someone's lute solo won't shut up. Pew pass tokens. Posh version. Embroidered kerchief scented with imported cloves. Budget version. Wooden bead you carved during night watch. Bonus points if it resembles a heart and not, say, a shriveled radish. Super budget version. A hazelnut. Yes, a literal nut. Whisper, keep it till you'll, and boom, sentimental legend established. Tokens serve double duty as plausible deniability, caught by your confessor. Oh, father, it's simply a hazelnut of entirely platonic nourishment. 7 group dates, aka going to fairs, so nobody sins. You will never be alone. Ever. Chaperones multiply like rabbits. So flirting happens under maximum supervision. Mayday fair. Dance around a pole, holding opposite ends of the same ribbon. Flower clouds everywhere. Piper slightly drunk. Ergo 0 personal space. Chemistry ensues. Saints' feast procession. Walk side by side in the candlelight, vowing in your head to marry or join a monastery, whichever grants faster access. Harvest alehouse sing-off. Trade verses of absurd ballads. You improv, rhyme, they giggle. Everybody pretends the lyrics aren't scandalous. 8 body language bonus round shoulders forward equals humility, but tilt the chin just enough equals confidence. Ankle flash while stepping over mud? That's basically medieval texting you up. Keep it micro. Brush fingers when passing bread trencher. Adjust cloaks so your elbow touches theirs for 0.5 seconds. Recorded success rate equals 42%. 9 the obstacle course before romance levels up you must. Secure parental blessing. Find a priest to confirm you're not cousins. Gather the bride price dowry. Survive at least 1 tournament, raid, or plague season without dying, because nothing says commitment like not being a corpse. 10 closing the deal subtly, the medieval equivalent of "can I get your number?" is may I escort you to vespers? Translation, share a hymn book. Lean close enough that parchment rustle covers your whisper. I fancy you more than spiced mead. Next steps include meeting her uncle, swearing on saints' relics, and scheduling the bands. Romantic? No. Effective. Sometimes. Until then, you keep flirting quietly, politely, scenting your single garment with lavender you borrowed from the monastery garden. Troubadours. The original podcasters, you can't have a love movement without hype men. Enter the troubadours, wandering singer-songwriters with 3 chords, a ponytail, and infinite optimism about audience retention. They roam Aquitaine writing verses such as, "When I glimpse your sleeve, my heart does heave. I should your spouse perceive, I shall take my leave." Catchy, right? Medieval Spotify puts that on repeat until the bore gets cold. Every noble lady wants her own custom ballad. Every noble dude hopes one line of lyric will translate to scandalous eye contact during mass. Secret flex. If your name appears in a troubadour cycle even once, congratulations, you're medieval trending. 3 level up mechanics. Chivalric quests. Words are good, deeds are better, so knights escalate. Quest examples. Fetch quest. Ride 3 days to pluck a rare white rose from a dragon-free monastery garden. Present it wilted yet surviving metaphor achieved. Endurance quest, where your lady has silk sleeve tied to your helm for a whole tournament season. Bonus points if you don't stain it with jousting nosebleed. Stealth quest. Sneak beneath her tower window at midnight. Sing quietly enough not to alert guards, but loud enough that the one eavesdropping made writes about it later. Critical rule. Success earns a glove. Brooch, maybe a wink. Failure earns a sprained ego, and a ballad titled Sir Doofus Lost the Plot. 5. The language of flowers, feathers, and extremely specific handkerchiefs. Peasants had hazelnuts. Nobles weaponized botany. Rose. I burn with love. Rose. I burn with love, but swear it's platonic. Is faith, hope, and please respond to my last message delivered by Squire. Sprig of rue. I regret everything, usually tied to apologies involving spilled wine and broken betrothals. Combine florals with handkerchief semiotics. Corner embroidered with gold thread equals moonlight meeting requested. Silver thread equals my guardian is home. Abort mission. Ladies basically invented QR codes centuries early. Feathers add advanced difficulty. Falcon plume tucked into a knight's visor screams, my heart hunts for you. If she swaps it for a dove feather, translation, slow down Romeo, mom's watching. 6. Ideological cocktail. Piety plus passion plus legal liability. Medieval Europe loves a paradox. Courtly love manuals instruct knights to be both. Devout kneel, cross yourself, sponsor a church window. Desirous compose versus describing her eyelids in 12 similes. Labadine, do not, under pain of excommunication, bang the Duchess. The tension creates fertile ground for poetic whining. Think medieval slow jams where every chorus is a lass, followed by 10 rhyming verbs for suffer. If frustration were currency, troubadours would fund the entire crusade. 7. The chaperone challenge. Ninja level discretion. Forget helicopter's parents. Meet Aunt Matilda, professional Vib destroyer. Her powers. Materialize whenever laughter exceeds modest chuckle. Smell pheromones through 3 layers of brocade. Quote St. Paul until you reconsider celibacy. To outwit Matilda, lovers develop stealth tactics. Palimpsest letters write love poetry between lines of a psalm. Erase the parchment, pass under candle glow. Book drop hide a note in the margin of Le Roman de la Rose. Pretend you're discussing allegory, actually scheduling a garden walk. Confession infiltration arrange back-to-back confessions so you can whisper through the screen between me culpas. Risk rating. High, but adrenaline is half the thrill. 8 games of touch without touching. Physical boundaries guarded by faith, manners, and chainmail, so flirts invent microcontact. Passing a goblet so fingers graze the rim a split second longer than physics require. Adjusting her cloak clasp for warmth, allowing knuckles to brush collarbone. Custom dance steps where partners exchange hands 3 times instead of 2 scandalous math. For the advanced class, secret hands squeeze during the pax. At mass, 1 slip and you're trading peace for penance. Worth it? Ask any adrenaline junkie of 1274-9. Poetic dragons and backhanded compliments hyperbole season is open all year. Compare your beloved to sun at dawn, blossom in frost. Stag outrunning hounds, holy relic radiant with virtue. Be careful. Too much praise edges into blasphemo, a lethal cocktail of blasphemy and emo lyricism. The church frowns on worshipping humans like deities. Keep at least one stanza about her moral excellence to satisfy the theology. 10 snack break. Aphrodisiac myths you shouldn't try at home. Because no romantic era is complete without questionable dietary advice. Ground mandrake root in wine. Promises passion, probably delivers hallucinations and mild death. Powdered staghorn. Allegedly boosts stamina, definitely empties your purse. Honey cakes spiced with saffron and rose water. Legit, tasty, mild placebo. Zero side effects unless you count sticky fingers. Every court has that one alchemist/pharmacist pushing love potions. 90% taste like moldy figs. 10% get you banned from polite society for witchcraft-adjacent activities. Consume at your own risk. One midsummer midnight, the boldness window, there's a folklore loophole. On Midsummer Eve, boundaries soften, bonfires blaze, villagers dance, nobles shed some decorum. Under this liminal moonlight, lovers may weave garlands together equals cosmic permission slip. Jumping the bonfire hand in hand equals public shipping announcement. Whispering wishes into oak trees equals early access manifestation. At dawn the spell breaks, hangovers bloom, and reality returns. But memories linger like smoke and hair, the medieval version of dreamy Instagram stories. 12 fail states. How flirting goes sideways. Top 3 catastrophe scenarios. Jealous rival decides to duel you, outcome ranges from bruised pride to actual funeral. Rumor mill runs wild, one maid spots you trading feathers. Suddenly you're starring in a scandal ballad performed at every tavern from Poitiers to Prague. Ecclesiastical court of flirting escalates to carnal sin. And somebody important complains. You re off to confess in front of stern clerics who assign more penance than your knees can handle. Damage control involves alms, pilgrimages, and swearing you'll join the next crusade. 13 ever after, sorta. Does courtly love ever convert to legal marriage? Rarely. When it does, the troubadours go feral with happy endings. More often, the passion burns bright, leaves poetic ash, then both parties pivot to duty. She manages estates. He supervises vineyards, or rides off to war. They exchange polite nods, maybe an annual feast day gift, and cherish memories of checkmating each other in candlelight. And yet, the echoes inspire centuries of storytellers from Detroit to the random YouTube historian, lulling you to sleep. The lessons. Longing can be art, restraint can be foreplay, and flirting in plate armor is cardio. All right, my sleepless companions, shake the hay from your hair. Nudge the house cat off your blanket, and let's stumble back onto the village green. Tonight we reditching castles and troubadours for the riotous chaos of peasant parties where ale flows faster than confession lines and flirting hides in plain sight behind sacks of turnips. Ready? Let's walk. 1. The festival circuit minus, where everyone's breath smells like onions. Medieval villages run on a calendar, stuffed with saint days, quarter days, planting blessings, harvest blowouts, and the bishops visiting, so we'd better look holy emergencies. Translation. Endless excuses to down ale, light bonfires, and flirt until the parish bell begs for mercy. On these days, the village green morphs into a Renaissance fair fever dream, jugglers hurling apples, fiddlers screeching in B minus, and pigs squealing in a makeshift racing lane. Nobody's working, everyone's gossiping. When you finally have an audience for that new linen hood you stitched from your grandmother's curtains, flirting begins the moment you trade your work knife for a wooden mug. You're suddenly cleanish, free for the afternoon. In miracle of miracles, allowed to stand within 3 feet of your crush without a bailiff demanding a tax. To May Day, when a pole and some ribbon become social media, nothing screams it's flirting time like a maypole. Imagine a giant tree trunk shoved into the earth, crowned with flowers, and draped in ribbons long enough to tie up half the parish. Each dancer grabs a ribbon, circles the pole, weaving over-under until the whole village is literally entangled. Strategy tips. Choose a ribbon adjacent to the person you fancy. Fate will twist you together like a human pretzel. Spin slowly at first, fast weaves equal accidental faceplants, which are funny, but not sexy. When the knot tightens and everyone's panting, pause for the classic, "Oh dear." Our ribbons crossed, let me untangle cue fingertip ballet on fabric, heart sprinting faster than the drummer's beat. Even the local reeve can't label ribbon touching as sinful. Thank paganism for the loophole. 3 harvest ale, liquid courage, barrel servings come autumn, barns overflow with grain and hormones. The community ferments a vat of ale so large you could baptize twins in it. By dusk, the entire population hums with malt-powered optimism. Flirting tactics under ale influence. Compliment is performance art. Project your admiration across the barn rafters, so even the pigs hear it. Marjorie, thy laughter's sweeter than last season's honey. Sure, slurred praise is messy, but the whole village laughs with you, not at you until morning. Diplomacy. Offer your crush the first sip from your fresh-drawn tankard. Double points if you wipe the rim with your sleeve first. Cider-soaked serenade. Borrow the minstrel's lute. Strum 2 pitiful chords. Forget the words. Grin like a fool. Everyone will chant along, because collective embarrassment is half the fun. Downside. Too much ale leads to proposing marriage to a scarecrow. It's happened. The church had to annul. For miracle plays backstage pass to dramatic desire. Twice a year traveling players wheel in a pageant cart and act out biblical blockbusters. The cast, local butchers, bakers, random shepherd kids, anyone who can remember 8 lines without fainting. Why miracle plays equal prime flirting real estate. Costumes equals instant glow. A tanner's apprentice becomes Archangel Gabriel by donning wings of goose feathers. Suddenly, he's radiant. Backstage proximity. You spend hours behind the curtain, adjusting halos, pinning robes, whispering cues. Prolonged eye contact is inevitable. After-show celebration. Villagers praise your art, shower you with bread scraps, and escort you to the ale bench. Nothing bonds to people faster than nailing the temptation scene without setting the props on fire. Rumor pitfall. If you play Adam and Eve opposite someone, tabloids will declare you basically married. Choose your casting carefully. 5. Market flirting barter, banter, bedazzle. Every Wednesday, carts cram the square. Selling carrots is business. Buying them seductively is art. Subtle produce gifting. Slip the best apple into your crush's basket with a wink. Apple equals biblical callback. Very cheeky. Eggle flirt. Argue over a silk ribbon S price until you compromise by sharing a meat pie. Negotiation doubles as conversation. Everybody wins except the chicken in the pie. Sly demonstration of strength. Heft a grain sack effortlessly. Toss it onto the scale. Pretend 0 back strain. Expect approving giggles and maybe a slow clap from her grandmother. Just don't block the well. Grannies with water jugs will ram your shins. 6 code phrases and inside joke center. Stealing a pig. Medieval slang is cheeky. Example, stealing a pig can mean straight up livestock theft. Sneaking off behind the buyer for a make-out session. Accidentally groping someone while wrestling at the hayride. Context clues matter. If your best friend nudges you saying, "Heard you stole a pig last night, there's no bacon in sight," congratulations, you're officially gossip fodder. They're double entendres. Picking walnuts. Holding hands in the orchard after curfew. Mending nets. Sneaking kisses by the riverbank under pretext of fishing chores. Sharpening sickles. We'll let your imagination break that one down. Medieval youth invent these codes to dodge adult ears, but every adult was young once. Spoiler, they all understand the jokes and pretend ignorance for everyone's dignity. 7 dance floor tactics. Carols, hops, and spin and grin. Dances called carols form a chain or circle. A piper drones, feet stomp, skirts twirl dust into the moonlight. This is sanctioned touching time, folks. Moves to master. The clasp hand spin, grasp partner's palms, whirl twice. Release at the last second so centrifugal force flings nerves away. The shoulder brush, brief touch while switching places in the circle, like accidental electricity. The courtesy dip, bow low enough to appear respectful, high enough to avoid cow pie contact. Dancing is basically flirting on a timer keep pace with the drum. Nobody calls it sinful. Step off beat, and you crash into Father Elfric's cassock. Choose your footwork wisely. 8 Court of the Commons. Bonfire after party, when the official festivities end. Clusters migrate to the outskirts, where rules loosen like belt buckles after feast day pudding. Bonfire lore. Flames are thought to ward off evil.
Ow.
Kids leap over sparks shouting future spouse names. Couples slip into the tree line under guise of collecting more firewood. They return with suspicious twigs and guilty grins. Someone inevitably starts a ghost story about a headless friar. Perfect excuse to clutch an arm for safety. If you bring a reed whistle, play a haunting tune. Even if it squeaks, atmosphere trumps skill after midnight. 9. Warding off drama survival tips. Flirting's fun till it triggers. Jealous brawls. 2 suitors swing at each other with bread loaves. Miller steps in as referee. Moral policing. The parish priest spots lingering handholds. Prescribes triple paternasters. Early betrothal rumors. Grandparents, eager to see grand-grandchildren, already weaving joint dowry blankets. Our best defense. Humor, laugh, bow, blame the moonlight. Promise to discuss proper arrangements after Michaelmas. Translation, never. 10 sunrise walk. Of almost shame dawn breaks. Roosters scream. You trudge home carrying wilted wildflowers, ale headache pounding like the Tabor drum. Yet you're smiling because you danced until your soles went numb. You swapped whispered jokes about walnut picking. You snagged a frayed ribbon from your crush's wrist trophy or future pillow scent. Undecided. Tomorrow the plow beckons, but tonight's mischief glows like embers in your ribcage. That, friends, is medieval flirting success. Lamps lit, rain tuts on the shutters, Brother Benedict's bell has long since clanged for Compline. Perfect. We snag the quiet hour when gossip drifts like chimney smoke and quills, scratch secrets no daylight should read. Slide closer to the hearth. Our topic tonight is covert romance. How medieval flirts slipped around walls of parchment, laces, and piety without tripping the alarm bells. 1. The scriptorium shuffle, where holy texts collide with hot takes monasteries, officially hubs of prayer, study, impeccably groomed herb gardens, unofficially postal hubs for the spiciest correspondence in Christendom. Think of the scriptorium as a medieval co-working space with unlimited ink, zero Wi-Fi, and monks who proofread Latin better than any editor alive. The loophole. Nobles and townsfolk routinely hired monastic scribes to copy letters. Slip the right brother a small purse of coin or a jar of honey from your estate, and he'll duplicate your business charter while quietly binding an extra sheet. A sonnet aims straight at Lady Matilda's yearning heart. Folded inside a legal deed, sealed with the same wax, it passes scrutiny at castle gates. Boom, first-class medieval mail, spiritual postage paid. Safety protocol for the sender. Draft your love note in code swap vowels, hide names behind sane initials. Add a pious salutation, so, if intercepted, it reads like devout counsel. May your soul bloom like roses around the Virgin statue is 40% theology, 60% meet me behind the granary. Receiver's job, melt wax seal, memorize every line before morning, and feed the evidence to the kitchen hearth. Ashes tell no tales, lest the wind's nosy. 2 palimpsests, and the invisible ink hack for advanced players. We enter palimpsest territory. Parchment is pricey, monasteries scrape and reuse pages. Lovers exploit the system. Step 1. Bribe a novice in charge of soaking old manuscripts. Step 2. He gently fades, but does not erase your hidden poem between psalms. Under ordinary candlelight, scripture reigns. Tilt the page toward the flames, and faint letters blush back to life, your secret stanza resurrected like Lazarus, then vanishes when laid flat again. Invisible ink lemon juices later. Medievals prefer milk or onion water. Scribble margin runes warm the sheet over lamp. Watchwords appear in sepia glow. Romantic and mildly fragrant a combo no troubadour can resist. 3. Side-lacing seduction. Clothing that winks without moving. Forget plunging necklines. Medieval fashion's hottest tease is the side lace rows of eyelets running under the arm, cinched with ribbon. It's magic. Adjustable fit for feast days versus fast days. Ventilation. Flaming invitation for a trusted hand to help tighten the cords. Scenario. Festival morning. You tug your laces halfway, step into the courtyard and sigh dramatically about needing assistance. Suitor approaches with dutiful expression. Fingers brush ribbon, tension sizzles like bacon on the griddle. He tugs each cross-lace slowly practical service, or foreplay. Aunt Matilda calls it modest, yet every heartbeat in range knows the subtext. Bonus danger, if a lace snaps. Improvised repair equals prolonged closeness. Shared laughter, perhaps a vow to buy sturdier cords at next market. For relics, rosaries, and other sacred icebreakers. Pilgrimage season equals singles mixer on the move. You're trudging dusty roads towards Canterbury or Santiago, sleeping in communal hostels, swapping miracle stories like trading cards. Spiritual fervor meets travel fling energy. The smooth pilgrims come prepared. Mini reliquaries, thumb-sized silver locket, said to hold a saint's toenail clipping. Offer a peek to a fellow traveler. Care to share in its blessing? Hugh hushed, marveling beneath the moon, shoulders brushing beneath wool cloaks. Rosary flex. Beads carved from olive wood fetched all the way from the Holy Land. Let a companion finger each bead while you explain its symbolism. Those are basically hand massages sanctified by the church. Pilgrim badges. Tin tokens from every shrine pinned to your hat. Conversation starters that double as travel stamps. Ah, you've been to St. Winfried's well? Did the water chill your lips as sweetly as it does mine? If that line doesn't thaw even the frostest widow by stronger wine, religious, absolutely romantic. Miracles happen. 5 confessional kinetics sin. A social network weekly confession creates an information bottleneck. Parishioners queue, whisper secrets through lattice. Smart lovers schedule back-to-back slots. Workflow, she confesses improper thoughts concerning a brave local man. Leaves booth, brushes past, said brave man in the aisle handshake, disguised as penitential token exchange. He enters, confesses identical improper thoughts, garners identical penance. Shared sin equals shared homework. Both kneel side by side chanting their paternasters, stealing sidelong smiles while the priest shuffles parchments. Penance never felt so electric. 6 garden of earthly delights. Herb patch courtship monasteries aren't all stone and scrolls. Their physic gardens burst with mint, violet, and heartbreak-curing rosemary. When layfolk visit, flirtation sprouts among the cabbages. You volunteer to weed the mint beds. Certain someone from the guest house arrives, ostensibly to learn herbal lore. Translation. Both of you kneel in fragrant shade, soil under nails, arms bumping as you debate which stalk is motherwort. Trade sprigs for later brewing tokens that carry scent memory into sleepless nights. Should a stern prior stroll by, you quote medical virtues? Rosemary aids memory, father? We're simply studying. The prior nods, unaware you're memorizing each other's freckles. 7 moonlight choral practice harmony with benefits. Choirs rehearse before dawn, voices rising over cloister arches. If a visiting squire boasts a tenor to rival angels, the prioress may invite him to join matins. Cue duets between stalls. Psalm responses morph into secret call and reply, vocal flirting skill set. Hold the final note of Kyrie, 1 heartbeat longer. Sonic wink. Slip a melismatic riff on the word gratia to signal gratitude for last night's letter. Time your breath so exhalations meet in the candle haze between choir benches. Liturgical loophole. Nobody punishes good harmony. Hearts ascend with the Alleluias. Guilt descends later, but music gave you wings for a minute. 8. The night staircase encounter. Logistics of a chance. Meeting monastic guest houses operate on curfews, but stone staircases echo all night. Lovers map each creak. Plan. Step when the wind rattles, shudders. Pause when hall falls silent. Count 7 stairs. Stop beneath stained glass sliver of moon. Wait. Opposite door clicks, the rendezvous is on. Words. Just shared breath and an exchange token. A single hawthorn blossom or a strip of sermon parchment torn daringly small. 30 seconds is luxury. Footsteps overhead send you scurrying like cats, yet that brush of fingertips fuels a fortnight of daydreams while threshing grain. 9. Risk management saving souls. Hiding hearts, even stealth has rules. Never trust a bored novice. Gossip is spiritual currency. Keep letters, briefing fades. But metaphors linger in memory where no bailiff can search. Practice holy alibis. I sought Brother Matthew for spiritual counsel. Works until Brother Matthew gets the same bright idea. Casual rotation is Key: get sloppy, and you risk public penance barefoot in Market Square. Get caught twice, you might end as moral cautionary tale in next Sunday's sermon. Saints weep, village laughs, romance wilts. Yet the human heart keeps sneaking over cloister walls. Every age reinvents the risk, because whispered sweetness beats. Loneliness hands dash down, 10 candle out, dreams alow. DR ink dries, and the crescent oil gutters low. Fold your own invisible letter tonight, maybe not in onion water, but in private wishes. Picture soft ribbons sliding through lids, relics glinting in lantern light, hymns entwining like ivy. Somewhere in that half-imagined cloister a pair of souls still trade hawthorn petals and trust the dark to keep their secret. Back again, night howls?
Excellent.
Tug that cloak tight, because this chapter takes us above the mud line-up spiral stairs, along parapets, and straight into the drafty hearts of stone keeps. Nobles may sleep on feather mattresses, but their crush management problems, it's just as awkward as ours. Ready? Lanterns dimmed, rope ladder unrolled. Let's go to the castle courtship par. Castles look romantic from outside. Moonlit turrets, ivy draped over battlements, torchlight glowing through narrow windows. Inside, drafts, damp relatives snoring. In adjacent chambers, and guards patrolling every corridor. Privacy is a myth, yet somehow aristocrats still contrive moments to melt each other's armor. 3 perpetual hurdles. Altitude ladies' chambers perch on upper floors for safety, which actually means 4-foot cramped stair climbs. Chaperone saturation maids everywhere, plus the ever-alert gentlewoman-in-waiting whose hobby is thwarting sin. Echo-amplified decor 1, misplaced whisper ricochets off stone. Elate like a trumpet fanfare. Solution, outwit architecture. Enter. Balcony flirting, 2 rope ladders, fig branches, and the climb of SHA. MA knights fancy themselves agile. But scaling a curtain wall in chainmail is less Romeo, more clanging wind chime. The smarter ones ditch armor, keep soft leather boots, and tie a rope ladder to a fig tree, or if desperate to. Pig trough propped against the ditch talk checklist for a stealth climb. Timing post-compline. When guards drink spiced wine to keep warm and eyelids droop. Grease control, wipe boot soles. Last week's mutton fat equals fatal slip. Signal 2 taps on the shutters. Not 3 rat alert, not 1 wind creak. Balcony doors rarely existed. Instead, lovers meet at arrow-slit ledges barely wide enough for a candle. They lean out. Touch fingertips through iron grates, breath steaming like dragons. Hearts drumming louder than the guard snores below. 3 the handkerchief bungee docker PI, if a full rendezvous is impossible. Noble ladies improvise. Tie a ribbon-weighted handkerchief to embroidery thread. Lower it from the window, let it sway until it bonks their knight on the nose. Side the folded cloth, a scrap of verse, sprig of lavender, maybe a gold ring for luck. Retrieval requires perfect aim, good timing, and the ability to pretend you're just admiring the moon should anyone stroll by. Pro tip: never knot jewels to the thread, if it snaps. Congratulations, you just gifted the Bailey chickens a sapphire point for Falcon. POST airmail? For a Fiffy CTO and ground roots risky? Use the sky. Trained falcons double as feathered couriers for the upper crust. How it works. He ties tiny scroll to Tarsa's leg using silk floss. Bird, primed by treats, zips to the knight's muse on another estate. Knight detaches note, feeds hawk a morsel. Pen's reply sends bird looping back before dusk. Romantic perks. Secret, swift, and literally soaring romance. Drawback: if a rival nabbed the bird mid-flight, your lovelorn limerick becomes castle-wide comedy. Always keep content ambiguous. The wind carries my thoughts east. Sounds poetic whether read by lover or nosy steward. 5 gift economics. Hauser size emotional RECIP test castle sweethearts. Trade high stakes. Gifts falcons. Greyhounds. Illuminated prayer books. Each object screams status and sentiment, but blooms with subtext. White gerfalcon. My devotion is rare and bankruptingly expensive. Italian glass mirror. See yourself as I see you also. I smuggled this past Venetian tariffs. Please. Cheer. Crimson riding cloak, so the hunt sees your brilliance, and I can spot you in the crowd. Yet every gift triggers political gossip. Is that gerfalcon, courting, or bribery? Did the bishop approve? Will the lady's husband demand a bigger bird in return? Court intrigue is basically a medieval unboxing channel. Everyone weighs values. Critiques. 6 bad poetry. Big Felsiod. Expect noble tutors to craft perfect verse. Yet the hottest hearts produce the clumsiest lines. Your eyes, twin suns that burn my brain. My heart a fish upon thy chain. Oof, but sincerity lands harder than meter. Earls swoon over couplets that would make Virgil weep for grammar, because the subtext reads, I, wielder of sword and estate, humbled myself to rhyme heart with fart. Yes, someone tried it just to make you smile. So, if your syntax stumbles, lean in. Scribble anyway, under wax seal shaped like a rampant lion. Delivery via falcon boom. Masterpiece.7 MUSICALS loot. And crowd CONTARLs. Sometimes a knight risks the classic serenade beneath stone windows. Logistics. Recruit a pageboy lookout. Strum softly. Castle walls echo like amphitheaters fortissimo. Equals instant guard alert. Choose a melody locals hate, so if you're caught, the crowd blames the tune, not the singer that cursed Lombard dirge again. If the lady rewards you with a single candle flicker in her window, mission accomplished. Leave before you freeze, or worse. Inspire the cook to dump chamber pot contents as Antinoy's deterrent. 8 chess rematch in the SOL. Arte time flirting. Moves into the solar private upstairs parlor where tapestries cut drafts and only hand-picked companions linger, except an invitation to play a game. Translation. Whisper while pawns march. Important. Solar floors creak. Time the steward. Trudges past. Conversation pivots from sweet nothing to grain prices. Multitask like champions. Knight slides bishop, gives murmurs that her ribbon smelled of sage, gives steward steps closer, gives both debate wool tides. Steward leaves, gives queen captures knight on the board. Chill gives both grin like children caught snitching. Sweets.9 the secret library PSS age. Some castles hide priest holes or servant shortcuts. Lovers map these tunnels for clandestine meetings. Torch sputtering. Claustrophobic walls. Adrenaline spiking with each footfall above. They exchange news, tokens, maybe a stolen kiss, smelling of candle soot. Should footsteps near, they freeze statues wrapped in stale, air listening to distant clanking armor. When coast clears, they part opposite ends, pulses thundering cheeks. Streaked with dust, romance is messy. Stone corridors proof, 10 exit strategies and legendary afterglow a night, never leaves evidence. Rope ladder hauled up, boot prints brushed with pine branches, falcon feather tucked beneath doublet. He slips through postern gate before dawn, rides into mist, replaying every whispered vow. Upstairs lady hides gift beneath pillow, reads clunky. Poem again laughs, praise no maid, finds it during linen's change. Centuries later, historians flip brittle parchment containing that same terrible couplet. Puzzle over smudged ink hearts, and write papers on private affection in 15th century. Epistolary culture, they miss the crackle, the chill, the daring step onto a swaying rope in moonlight. But you, half asleep by fire glow, you get it. Welcome back, night watchers.
Outside.
Frost etches lattice work on the window panes. The hearth crackles, and somewhere, a sleepy hound dreams of chasing geese. Perfect backdrop for tonight's tale, how medieval folk took courtship onto icy roads and into candlelit great halls once the harvest was done. Lace your boots, tug that hood. Lost snowflakes are about to fall on our love story. 1. The Yule clock strikes, when darkness turns CO's wife, from Advent through Twelfth Night. Daylight shrinks to a stub. Fields sleep, chores slow, and people crave. Warmth, physical, emotional, occasionally scandalous. Villages deck thresholds with holly. Castles haul in a log thicker than a plow horse to burn for the 12 nights. Under its sparks, rules soften like beeswax by flame. Flirting in winter relies on four ingredients: proximity, huddling beats, hypothermia. Shared food that drips honey and goodwill music, echoing off stone walls, thick clothing that invites help. Untangling clasps, bundle them. And you've got seasonal chemistry? 2 snowball duels, the playful, armistice first snowfall. Youths explode from doors, wielding snow like artillery. But pay attention, those lobs aren't random. Clean hit to someone's shoulder can say, "I see you." One to the hat brim says, "Join our team." A gentle toss landing just short. Follow me behind the mill when round 2 starts. Etiquette, pack. Loosely icy stones inside snow is a war crime. After a direct hit, offer your glove to dust off flakes. Skin touches wool, pulse races, nobody freezes. When elders complain that such sport courts colds, wink. Heat rises with laughter, father. Boom science meets charm. 3 wassels circuit past the cup, past the eye and tie evening falls. And carolers roam door to door with a shared bowl of spiced ale brown, steaming, laced with cider, nutmeg, maybe a hint of mischief. Tradition says each household drinks, then places a token in the cup: apple slice, silver coin, die sprig of rosemary, top-tier flirting symbol tonight. If you slip your crush a slice studded with cloves before they sip. It delivers 2 messages. May your year be fragrant. I literally seasoned your drink. My hands were centimeters from your lips. The last house visited usually hosts a fireside encore. Keep track of who stands nearest the bowl all night there. The secret. Romantic VIP controlling refills. For mistletoes. Medieval ancestor. The kissing BOUGH. Before plastic mistletoe decor. Folks crafted a kissing bow. Wooden hoop, candles, rosemary, and 1 dangling red apple. Hang it from the hall beam. Anyone who passes beneath owes either a kiss or a kindly blessing. Younger villagers interpret blessing, liberally often landing somewhere between a peck on the cheek and a whispered promise to swap. Gingerbread later. Strategic stroll. Time your walk so your favored partner approaches opposite side. Meet. Underneath, exchange a swift starlit kiss while onlookers cheer. Pretend shock. Oh, I had no idea the bow was here. It's the size of a wagon wheel. Nobody's fooled. Claim the apple once the candles burn out. Carve both initials. With eating knife, keep it on the windowsill till spring. If the apple shrivels but doesn't rot, lore says the love will last. If it rots, well, compost is still useful. 0.5 gingerbread grammar writing sweet nothings and douche spices were gold dust expensive, yet bakers splurged at Christmastide. Shapes multiply. Hearts, stars, tiny armored knights, lovers' press patterns. Deeper lettering their initials before baking. Deliver on a wooden board wrapped in linen so the scent hits first. Advanced technique. Carve a secret rune on the underside. Recipient breaks the biscuit, spots the mark, bites that corner last like. Saving the best line of a poem for dessert. Should parents confiscate treats for testing? The message stays hidden until dad flips it over and becomes accidental wingman. Ginger, honey. In a pinch of risky symbolism. Literally an edible love letter. 6. Spin the fire irons grate. Hall party gum during the 12 nights. Nobles clear benches. Musicians strike up. And someone invents a game. Placed to fireplace pokers, crossed on the floor. Players spin a tankard. Whoever it points to must step over the irons without clinking them. Silently, choose someone to gift a kiss or token. Clang the pokers. You owe a forfeits in a bawdy verse, or juggle roasted chestnuts while everyone laughs. Tips: soft leather shoes equals stealth advantage. Dramatic. Pause mid-step builds tension and admiration. If you deliberately skim the iron and claim it was accident, be ready to belt out the Derby Ram all 20 verses. Nothing. Glues flirt energy like shared embarrassment under TORCHLIGHT. Toad 7 12th Night Masquerade, who's behind the mask. Final feast of the season explodes with role reversal theatrics. Servants wear crowns. Lords carry platters. And everyone dons masks of painted parchment or embroidered cloth. This disguise liberates tongues. How to leverage. Approach the one you've eyed for weeks, voice muffled, and offer a riddle. Guess me, win my token. If guessed correctly, unmask with a flourish, cheers erupt, cheeks redden. Future legends born. If not guessed, remain mystery, slip away. Leave a clue under their cup, half a gingerbread heart or a single silver bell, a love that dances behind. A mask keeps beating long after candles gutter. 8 frost-patterned window FLIRTING drafty corridors. Glass panes frost into leaf veins. Lovers breathe circles on the cold surface and trace initials through the temporary window.
Ow!
She draws E+A. He adds an arrow. They laugh as the vapor fades. Then march outside to sketch the same on snow with their boots for sunrise discovery. Low-tech. Fleeting art like love letters to winter itself. 9 candle-end confessions when flames dwindle. Tongues UNFUR, laughter revels, a chosen few linger near the near-spent wax. Silence settles, only coals glow. This pocket of hush invites quieter wooing. Share a pomegranate seed, crackling crimson in torch glow. Pledge to plant it come spring. Offer to rebraid her loosened hair because maids retired hours ago. Fingers move gentle, promise steadiness. Read aloud a scrap of psalm that suddenly sounds like romance carved in Latin marble. No audience, no music, just the ticking drip of wax intimacy distilled. 10 dawn on crunching snow, the goodbye. That is in when rooster cries and guests tramp home, breath clouds in pale light, lovers part at the lane's fork. He presses a warmed stone once near the hearth into her mitten. Heat lingers down the road. She passes him a sprig of box evergreen. It survives winter like promises should. They vow to meet at the first thaw where river ice breaks a date scribbled by nature's own clock. Walking away, they glance back exactly once, see each other mirrored in the hard morning sky, and know. The ember they sparked will hibernate, not die. Evening dream riders. Snow's a memory, lambs are wobbling in the meadows, and the moon smells faintly of wet earth and possibilities. Crack the shutters here, frogs tuning up for their nightly chorus. Good. Let's wander into April and watch medieval romance burst like hawthorn buds along every HEDGEROW.1 spring's first smirk. Green WEA church calendars dubbed the first. Full week after Easter Green Week, and peasants string fresh birch branches above cottage doors, and everyone suddenly remembers how to smile, but still squelches, but wooing spirits rise faster than sap, the go-to move. Flower garland ambush. You weave a crown of willow twigs and not primroses around it. The trick is to accidentally drop the garland onto your target's head while they're bent filling a bucket. If they laugh, and keep it on interest confirmed. If they yank it off and chase you brandishing a mop, still interest, but with Cardio.2, May Eve Vigil, the Night of Bloom Thieves, local. Lore says dew collected at dawn of May Day blesses skin with eternal glow. Translation: everyone with a crush sneaks out at midnight to pluck blossoms from someone else's orchard and lay them on a sweetheart's sill before sunrise. Protocol: pick only odd numbers of blooms. Granny swear even counts jinx the crush. Place them quietly under the window, don't knock. Mystery heightens anticipation. If discovered mid-delivery, improvise. I'm merely guarding your hens from fox's melody. Carry a stick, it helps the lie. Come morning, doorsteps across the shire resemble over your florists, and the air thrums with whispered who left yours. Speculation 3 Maypole redux ribbons and rapid heartabuys. We met the Maypole last summer, but Spring's Dance is the original, turbocharged version. Ribbons now glow Easter egg, bright saffron, robin's egg, wild rosand, drummer's double. The tempo, flirting tactics, ribbon switcheroo, mid-weave. Swap ribbons with your chosen partner so colors braid together. Elders call it knotting fate. Spinondolin, as you circle, lean inward, an inch more than necessary cheeks brush. Breath tangles with woodruff perfume. When the pole stands cocooned in stripes, snip the loose ribbon ends. Add them around each other's wrists and promise to keep them till Pentecost. Tantamount to early engagement, minus paperwork. For the bluebell picnic, where ants play. Our ants carpeted in bluebells, become pop-up date sites. You pack a round of young cheese, still squeaking between teeth, half-dashed loaf of honey bread, a flask of small ale so light it tastes like bread clouds. A scrap of parchment bearing a riddle to read aloud between bites. Important. Select a stump. Not yet claimed by courting sparrows or ants. Fend off insects with sprigs of pennyroyal, doubling as subtle handoff of I care about your comfort, which is medieval love language deluxe. After cheese dwindles, carve intertwined initials on beech bark. The tree will outlive you both eternal. Bragging rights, 5 by-assisted love, unowed slowers mean bees. Bees mean wax prime material for secret seals. Step, dash by, dash buzz. Guide, skim molten beeswax off the beekeeper's cauldron. Knead in a splash of lavender oil. So your letter smells like a stroll through paradise. Stamp. It's a cooling blob with a carved token a bumblebee symbol. If you're extra meta, send the note via younger sibling or trusty hound, tie to collar. Bees thus serve as postal sponsors, pollinating both orchards and romance. Also, the pun, potential, bee mine practically writes itself. 6 shepherds' flute and echo gom soapin hills amplify sound. At dusk, a shepherd boy perches on a rock and pipes a simple 4-note phrase. Down in the brook hollow, the girl at the butter churn answers, with the same notes hummed against her pale rim. Call and response escalates. He adds a trill she mirrors. Locals pretend not to notice, but everyone times milking chores to the concert schedule. Rule. If clouds blot stars mid-serenade, the lovers meet halfway under the lone oak. Nature itself lowers the curtain point. 7 herb charm swaps bags of Mei and Yanjiang. Women sew tiny linen sachets stuffed with herbs. Rosemary for remembrance. Thyme for courage. Meadowsweet for secret love. They lose these sachets near the well. Where certain lads linger, finder presses it to nose. Scent locks the giver into memory. He answers by tucking a single hawthorn thorn into the sachet's drawstring thorn, equals your love pricks but pleases. Pouch returns to her doorstep. The next dawn, upgraded. Rarely has botany been this extra. 8. The Greenwood Bet Archery meets ADMI, Eroin May Fair's host archery contests. Grand prize, peacock feather or silver spoon, both irrelevant next to bragging rights. Flirt hack, K. Challenger publicly vows to gift winnings to the fairest. Watcher at the butts. Every arrow's thud is a heartbeat. If they win, they kneel, present the trinket. If they miss, they shrug, pluck a wild daisy instead, and still kneel. Either way, the object of affection walks off smiling. Failure becomes charm. Sincerity outranks skillertures everywhere adopt the tactic. Targets supply applause. 9 rain shower refuge to under 1 CLO. AK spring downpours strike like spontaneous baptisms. When clouds burst, etiquette dictates offering cloak space. To the nearest uncloaked soul, preferably your crush, huddle math. 2 heads under 1 hood equals forced whisper distance. Topics default to warm breath, mud squelch commentary, and subtle scalp fragrance. By the time skies clear, you're sharing raindrop laughter in a secret memory that clings like wet wool. 10 sunset of stinging. The parting TSLD. Wives claim plucking a nettle barehanded without flinch proves true love's bravery. Couples attempted at twilight, he grasps stem. If he yelps, she laughs but notes the lack of stoicism. She tries. If she succeeds, he pledges to fetch dock leaves for the sting. They both win. Whether legend or placebo, the shared ordeal forges camaraderie and gives them matching nettle welts as conversation pieces at Sunday Mass. Welcome back, Starlight. Seekers. The wheat is waist high. Crickets keep tempo, and dusk smells like warm honey drizzled on rye. Shove. Open the shutters here. The river gurgled beyond the meadow. Perfect. Tonight, we tumble into high summer courtship, where romance ripples. Through cool water, drifts like dust motes in hay, and rises as froth atop every tankard. Pull up a sheaf, lean back, And let's begin point 1. Solstice electric sun at maximum. Secrets at BOIL Midsummer Day stretches so long even roosters forget bedtime. Work pauses at noon because Siths slip in sweat-slick palms and brains melt. In helmets, idle hours birth, mischief prime breeding ground for flirting that would wither under stricter seasons. Ground rule. Any dare issued within 3 days of solstice must be attempted, lest the sun gods frown. Lovers weaponize this loophole. 2 riverbank splash, CIU, RTSHIP, hottest afternoon. Everyone migrates to the bend where willow branches kiss the water. Boots pile in a muddled heap, tunics roll to elbows, toes test the current cold enough to jolt. Giggles through the spine, flirt arsenal, stone skip wagers, loser owes winner a secret. Cue deliberate fumbles so confessions surface like shy trout. Splash tag, flick water with fingertips. If it lands waist high, you claim mercy and negotiate surrender terms, often a shared plum or daringly a kiss behind reeds. The brave. Plunge, challenge. First to dunk head, gains the right to braid found river rushes into the other's hair. Result. 2 dripping idiots crowned like bog royalty, exchanging smirks between shivers, while garments dry on branches. You sprawl belly down on sun-warmed moss, tracing shapes in damp sand initials, entwined fish, maybe an arrow pointing to. A spot where hearts thump louder than dragonflies' wings. 3 floating garland, messerge. ES girls knot river flowers into circlets. Yellow flag, meadow sweet, water crowfoot. They set garlands adrift upstream. Boys downstream wait, half submerged to intercept. Garland code. If it drifts intact and is caught, destiny smiles wear it till sundown. If current tears it, pieces symbolize longing still unfulfilled. Gather. Petals. Press them inside belt pouch for hope. If 2 garlands collide mid-drift and tangle, legend says a wedding will follow within a year. Cheer erupts from both banks. Parents feign dismay while mentally adding up DOWRIES. For twilight hayloft tales, straw, and STR-LIGHT. When amber evening spills over barns, courting pairs volunteer to stack fresh-cut hay. Up the ladder they go loft smelling of grass. Sugar and warm dust. Work soon pauses. Stories flow. Favorites : local ghost cow that appears only if you whisper your crush's name. Perfect excuse to whisper. Star lover myth where Vega and Altair cross heaven once a year cue. Sky watching shoulder to shoulder, fingers pointing, pinkies almost touching. Mummer's riddles ending with answer true and you may claim a forfeit. Forfeit invariably involves shared cider hidden in the eaves. Straw crackles beneath shifting elbows. Bats squeak overhead. Someone plucks a single stalk and threads it behind the other's era. Makeshift promise ring that smells like sunshine. 5. The Find My Sickle night. Game post, harvest sundown. Villagers scatter sickles and tall stubble, then race by moonlight to retrieve their own. Secret agenda. Pairs drift off under guise of searching. Gameplay perks. Moon-polished blades flash. Guiding footsteps to rendezvous points. If you mistake someone's sickle for yours, custom dictates buying them ale. Later ready-made date. Legend warns lovers not to cross sickles midfield unless they're ready to bind lives. But mischief wins, and crossed blades gleam like silver constellations in the barley sea. Back in the yard, sickles stack. Missing ones cause coy shrugs. Search parties can wait till dawn. 6 alehouse serenades, proposals bubbling you peacemer. Evenings herd folks into the alehouse courtyard. Strings of rushlights overhead. Barrels breathing malt steam. Minstrel strum. But the true headliners are Kalan dancer, drinking songs, H-verse a veiled vow. Sample progression, he sings. If ale be deep. My heart be deeper yet, she replies. Then dive you must, but bring the barley wet chorus. Hollers, ho, drink to the couple bold. After 3 rounds, observers know who's courting whom. When cups empty, suitors append tankards on head symbolic crowns of foam to seal intention. Splashy, yes. Memorable? Definitely. in beer-scented hair deters midges better than any birch-star salve. 7 secret toast Eliange, Uajabayan song. Couples craft-coated toasts. Tap mug once on table before drinking, thinking of you. Touch rim to lip, then heart. Keep this close. Clink, but don't drink. Meet me after last call. Stable door side. Regulars pretend oblivion, while mentally scoring creativity. The taverner winks. Love sells more ale. 8 full moon field fires dance of spark-shy summer. Full moon sees shepherd lads pile gorse in fallow fields, lighting bonfires that roar like captured suns. Girls arrive with ankle bells, feet drum dust into starshine. Dance pattern, form 2 facing lines, step forward, spin, retreatus, lock each pass. On final turn, partners exchange a token snatched from the fire circle, a glowing ember on a spade. A smoke-smudged wildflower, toss tokens back into flames together, wish charred into sparks. Heats cheeks and hearts, soot smudges become bedtime tattoos. Later, embers collapse to a glow. Couples linger at the edge, tracing constellations in warmed air, inventing names like the joined arrows or the twin tankards. 9 morning. Milk run? Meat cut dawn chores resume, but romance leaves fingerprints. Village lanes echo with clinking pails. If yesterday's garland catcher shows up at the dairy, he might offer to shoulder her yoke for a stretch ostensibly chivalry. Actually a chance to match footsteps. Conversation starters. The frogs by. The mill pond sounded like drums last night. It minded me of your laugh. This cream's nearly as sweet as the tune you hummed over your mug. Flattery swirled into everyday labor, tastes richer than breakfast porridge. 10 sunset. Promise fernseed hunt to folklore says fern seeds appear only at sunset on the year's hottest day. Invisible unless sought by the pure of heart. Couples. Venture into bracken, clasping hands, searching. No. They won't find seeds their spores, but science sleeps. Yet the quest offers solitude shaded by towering fronds. Before light fades, they bury a pebble bundle his and hers tied, with grass. If next summer the bracken grows taller here, love is sworn to endure. That's the story, and who are we to doubt Fern's judgment? Settle in, starlings. Outside, the last crickets chirp against a cool hush, and the wind carries that sweet and smoky scent of stubble fields. Pitchforks stand stacked like sleepy sentries. Barns brim with wheat, barley, and gossip. The harvest is in, the ale is strong, and hearts are as ripe as the orchards. Time to drift through dusk and watch flirtation glow beneath the fat September moon. One harvest home, every loaf a love anoto. When the final sheaf topples, reapers crown it with flowers and march it to the village green. Ale splashes, drums pound, and everyone who isn't ankle-deep in straw is ankle-deep in opportunity. Bakers shape the first fresh loaves into knotted rings. If you slip one, still hot, into a certain person's hands, you're sharing more than carbs. You're offering warm promise that steams in the chilly air. To cider press. Courtship stomping and SYNC apples pour into the press house. Pairs take turns treading fruit in wide vats, skirts and bries hitched high, juice squirting like mischievous sprites.
Ow.
Legend says if 2 stompers match steps perfectly for one full verse of the pressing song, they'll dance together at their wedding feast. Nobody admits counting beats, but everyone listens for that moment when splashes fall rhythmic and hearts skip to the same tempo. 3 harvest moon games shadow TAG. The full moon hangs so bright you could mend nets by it. Youths invent shadow tag. One player darts across the field, others chase only his moon-cast silhouette. Grab the shadow, not the body, to win a forfeit, usually a kiss or whispered dare beneath the elm. Chasing outlines across silvered stubble feels halfway between dream and daylight, perfect for accidental hand-holding and deliberate lingering. For traveling fair wooden carousel, MAGIC gypsy carpenters rattle into town, towing a hand-cranked carousel, painted horses, dragons, and a chipped swan. Ride price, 1 copper or 1 flattery. Couples queue at dusk, wind in their hair as the platform creaks round. It's custom holds that if you touch palms at the top of the spin and still clasp when you dip, Fortune binds you for a year. Some grip tight enough for 3 spins just to be safe. 5 knife throwers, coup, danger, and div. Owen the Fair's knife thrower always needs a brave volunteer. If you step forward and your crush gasps louder than the crowd, you've measured their feelings without a word. When the last blade thuds an inch from your ear, bow and dedicate the stunt to them. Later they'll pretend outrage, then examine the knife's tip. Fingers brushing yours, pulse still racing faster than any Blade .6 corn dolly. CRETS. Braided VOWS. From the final sheaf, girls weave straw dolls. Hair plaits, tiny waists, no faces. Faces invite wandering spirits. Each doll hides a token, a ribbon scrap, a hazelnut, a sliver of willow whistle. At the harvest supper, dolls trade hands under the table. If you find someone's ribbon round the dolly's arm, you owe them a dance. If you spy a hazelnut, you owe a promise of future walks. Whistle means, meet me by moonlight, bring music. Straw never blushed so hard. .7 sack race. Strategy fall together. Laugh. POGHER burlap sacks line the race lane. In arms looped round waists to keep balance. Halfway down, someone inevitably tumbles, dragging partner into the straw. If you're the one still upright, you must choose. Haul them up chivalry, or flop beside them solidarity. The crowd roars either way, and straw-flecked hair becomes a badge of shared recklessness. 8 bonfire ballet sparks and SIL Cho UITTS, after the fair. A bale-high bonfire roars. Couples orbit the blaze, faces glowing ember orange. Game of the hour. Leap the outer circle of sparks without dimming your candle. To hold a tallow taper together, jump, land, if the flame survives. So says lore will their affection. Should it sputter out, you laugh, light it anew from the central pyre, and vow to try again next year. Failure never felt so inviting. .9 mummers PLA improvised PROPOSALs. Local lads. Don tattered costumes and stage St. George and the Dragon. Rolls, shuffle, lines change nightly, but one tradition sticks. The hero finishes with a spur of a moment. Couplet dedicated to whomever he's smitten with in the audience. The crowd hoots, the heroine blushes, and the poor dragon rolls his paper match, as he knows he's second fiddle to romance. 10 field edge. Goodnight corn silk CON, FASSON, SVA wagons creak away, bonfire coals crumble, yet the field edge hums with hushed farewells. Lovers walk the headlands between rows of cut stalks, corn silk, drifting like gold thread on the breeze. One last rite. Pick a single leftover ear, strip kernels, in each pocket half. Come planting time, so those halves side by side, symboled that what sprouted tonight will root tomorrow. Lips meet, kernels rustle, and the chill October wind suddenly feels mild. Curl closer to the hearth, dream traveler. Outside, the oak leaves rattle like tiny shields, and a scant moon filters through smoky clouds. Hounds are already snoring, yet somewhere down the lane, a horn gives one last lonely bray. The harvest fair is memory. The first frost silvers every roof. And in this thin hush between seasons, romance hides in the glow of lanterns and the scratch of knitting needles. Let's wander those narrowing lanes together. One, the hunter's horn call, and RSPO and SE after Michaelmas. Nobles ride at dawn to chase boar. Commoners track hares for stew. Each horn blast carries coded meanings, 3 short for brought down, 1 long, 1 short 4-game lost, and the sweetest 2 rising notes for meet me at dusk behind the smokehouse. Sweethearts know to listen, if his horn lifts twice before sunrise. Her chores fly. The dashi's busy packing bread crusts, salt, and a sly smile for the secret rendezvous. 2 tethered lantern, signals fireflies on SDRNG's evenings. Now slip into darkness before supper, perfect for lamp language. Lovers hang little rushlights on cords outside bedroom slits. Lantern high, steady glow, all clear. The household sleeps. Lantern mid-cord, rocking once, chaperone still awake. Lantern low, oscillating thrice danger tonight. Try tomorrow. From the lane, he answers with his tinderbox. 1 spark, 2, 3. Sparks fade fast, but hearts leap brighter than any flax. Wick. 3 wood smoke rendezvous scent, as SOUVEIR wines, carry chimney smoke that smells of oak and hidden longing. Couples steal to the old charcoal clamp on the ridge, a mound of earth glowing within. They sit on fallen logs, share roasted apples, and let sweet smoke weave through hair and cloak. When they part, each carries the other's scent, Homa. Private perfume that lingers through cold washing water and stern parental sniff tests. Tests. 4. The frost-etched window, gum. Dawn. The first ice paints glass with fern patterns. She breathes a clear circle, draws his initial. He, passing with milk pails, answers by tracing hers beside it. Sun melts evidence by terse bell, but not before maids gossip and cats peer. Curious why humans mark frost when ink and parchment exist. Ink can be seized. Frost dissolves into nothing but memory and misted smiles. 5. Knitted confessions stitches that SBA Kalong night's birth, cottage industry, spinning, mending, knitting. Girls cast on secret messages via colored rose, a single stripe of indigo hidden. Inside a mittens cuff, think of me tonight. 2 crimson pearl bumps on a stocking's heel. You stepped on my heart. Keep walking with it. A green spiral swirling round a cap. Meet me where ivy climbs the old wall. Delivery a simple drop finished garment in the communal chest for winter charities. If the intended finds it first, destiny or a cooperative gossip chained it. Its work 6 alehouse reprised the oath in the FOAM barrels of new-made ale, warm every bench. This season's game, pledge and quench. 1 lover pours a mug, scrapes foam into a swirl shaped like a heart, then drinks without licking the froth mustache. If their beloved wipes it away with a thumb, the pair is sealed in suds until Candlemas. The taverner keeps tally on the beam above the hearth tiny chalk hearts. Slowly accumulating like stars in a milky sky, 7 spindle dancing music for 2 tucks during spinning bees. Lads slip in to keep the fire fed. Really? They're here for spindle dancing contests? 2 spinners hold distaffs upright while partners flick spindles beneath, trying to keep them twirling longest. When her spindle spins out and his still whirls, he claims a ribbon from her sleeve. If hers outlasts his, she snips a lock of his forelock, a bragging right she braid into her girdle. Either way, tokens exchange, laughter crackles, and wool twists into more than yarn. 8 the goose fair waltz last fest, before SNOW Michaelmas geese fatten all season. Come fair day, pens line the market like feathered moats. Buyers haggle, while minstrels play a slow looping tune called Gander's Glide. Couples shuffle between coops, arms linked, matching steps to honks. Tradition says if a goose nips both sweethearts during the dance, their first child will have lungs as strong as any market crier. Parents feign horror. The pseudo-betrothed secretly hope for that blessed bite .9 story fire at the smithy sparks. Right the effeutery with chill winds. Villagers gather inside the smithy once the day's shoeing ends. Iron still glows, perfect nightlight. The blacksmith clangs rhythmic sparks into the air while elders spin tales of heroes choosing winter brides. Sparks drift like orange snow. Lovers sit side by side, counting how many sparks land on the anvil. Odd number? Wedding in spring even? More waiting in, more nighttime walks to tally again .10. First snows kissed, the silent O teich finally. 1 dawn, snow dusts the thatch quiet. She steps outside, sees the world muffled and new, and knows he'll appear, boots soft on powder, breath white in the hush. Without speaking, they press palms together. Exhale mingles, steam rising like prayer. Folklore warns, speak, and the spell breaks. So they stay silent, foreheads touching, while the village wakes slow behind shuttered windows. Words can wait for thaw. For now, winter's first hush seals everything.